We're now inside the beautiful Anglo-Australian telescope, and just so you know, it is as cold in here as it is outside. Yes, and that's because it needs to be for the telescope to work. And look who's here, Tim Minchin.
I'm here.
Hello.
I'm in a telescope as well. I'm in a freezing telescope.
A nice and warm. I know you're an astronomy fan, but what is it particularly about astronomy that you find fascinating?
Actually, I think it's sort of a philosophical, intellectual excitement I get out of it. Especially the way it increases your sense of perspective. And I think it'd be great if everyone on the planet had a greater sense of how big space is and how long time is. And trying to get my head around how big space is and how long time is kind of a lifelong project for me. And it always going through those numbers and trying to figure out our place in it, our tiny, tiny place in it, gets my adrenaline pumping. I love it.
It's interesting because I think there are two types of people. There are people who find that our, the tiny, insignificant nature of our existence on this planet frightening and almost terrifying when faced with the scale of the universe.
Yeah.
And there are people who find it exciting. So what do you think about that balance?
What's the difference?
Between the
I mean,
two?
some people, when you want to talk about these numbers, when you talk about our... They haven't even really got their heads around it, that we're a planet in a solar system. That's one of 200 or 300 billion solar systems in a galaxy. That's one of 2 trillion galaxies in a universe as far as we know. And I love trying to get my head around those numbers. Some people just don't want to know. And I think it's because it challenges a sense of anthropocentricity, or whatever the word is, humans being the centre of the universe, which we naturally feel like we are. Whereas for some reason I like knowing that it's all nonsense.
You're here on this mountain with us. There's quite a few telescopes up here. What are you hoping to see at Siding Spring?
Well, my shameful secret is for all my intellectual...
Shameful secret, shameful secret.
Amongst your shameful
Yeah, amongst... One of the shameless secret I think is relevant here is that despite my love of all this sort of intellectual relationship with space, I've never looked through a good telescope. I just haven't had the opportunity. So I want to see I want to see a planet through a telescope. I've seen all the images, but I've never seen it with my eye hole.
I have a friend who looked through my telescope at Saturn for the first time and burst into tears. It's a powerful thing to see.
Do I have to burst into tears now?
Only if you want to.
What's the next step up? I want to beat your friend, or maybe I'll faint. Maybe I'll have a strange story. Maybe I'll start dancing.
You will definitely be able to see a planet from here, I'm sure. And it's brilliant to have you here. And of course, Tim, you will be playing and singing for us later.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get you up there to do some stargazing.
I have my hat. I'm going. Bye.
He's got a beanie and gloves. He's amazing. Well, we sent Tim Minchin off up into the dark fields. What's happening up there, Kumi?
It is so cool up here. Tim is here. Tim.
Hi.
Welcome to the coolest place at Siding Spring.
It is cool.
How amazing are the skies?
Skies are good, big, pretty. Reminds me of being back in WA.
Well, you have the coolest guide to talk you through the skies tonight. Greg, what are you going to show Tim?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
Good, Tim. Let me introduce you to some of my friends out here,
Okay.
Tim. This one in particular is a giant star called Canopus that Brian's just been talking about.
All right.
In that fuzzy little cloud, that's where the Tarantula Nebula lives. That's a
Magellan,
galaxy.
right?
It is Magellan. And we've got the Milky Way leading across here, leading us to the Southern Cross, sort of embedded in beautifully in that Milky Way. But where I really want to take you tonight is up nice and high here.
Uh-huh.
What do you reckon that might be?
Well, it's a planet.
How do you know that?
Well, just because it's a bit oranger and...
It's pretty bright, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
bright.
Yeah, what you got there is Jupiter. And
Yeah.
I got it lined up in this telescope.
Awesome.
Come and have a
This is
look. Come and have a look. Take your time. What do you see?
I can see moons.
You can see moons. So you can see Jupiter itself.
Yeah. Well, sorry, yes, I can see Jupiter.
Yeah, and there are moons in there, you're right.
And I can see 3 moons, what I assume are moons.
There's a little one really close to Jupiter there too.
Close down to the left.
And if you're looking for the great red spot, it's actually around the other side of Jupiter at the moment. But if you come back at 1 a.m, I'll show you the great red spot.
It's really annoying, Greg, that you didn't get that round for me now.
Well, that's right. I'm like that.
We did get it round for you a couple of nights ago, though, Tim. We shot it for you specifically.
Oh, great.
Come and have a look in here.
We did actually
Yeah.
get a really good shot of that red spot on Jupiter, which is fantastic from our cameras up here.
Amazing.
And Greg, this is a really great time for Tim, for everyone at home to be looking at Jupiter, right?
Oh, yeah, Jupiter's in a great position. Having it up here nice and high in the sky. And if we follow this laser beam back down through the ground, that's about where the sun is at the moment.
Right.
So we're in the middle between Jupiter and the sun. Jupiter's opposite the sun. It's at opposition.
And that means it's at its clearest to
It
observe.
does. It means we're both on the same side of the sun. We're at our closest approach to it, and our views are just beautiful.
So good.
Now, Tim, I know you're a bit chilly, but you're going to camp up here tonight, right? Look at the stars.
Oh yeah, I assume so. Yeah, tent free. Just I'm just going to curl around a rock, I think.
We've got a few
great.
telescopes to play with too.
Yeah, great.
And so great to have Greg guiding you through. Tim, thank you so much for visiting up on our best
pleasure.
location
Thank
here.
you for
because it
showing
can
me
be
Jupiter.
kind
What a
of a
joy.
little bit tricky when you take those first steps into astronomy. That is exactly what one family in Melbourne found out. That is until Greg and Lisa paid them a visit.
First, here is what you've all been waiting for. It is Tim Minchin, and he is going to end this night of cosmological magnification, magnificence with a song.
Yeah. So it goes back to that thing I said at the very beginning of the show about keeping perspective. And this is a song that you love that was written 40 years ago but is still perfectly accurate, I'm pretty sure.
A Python classic.
A Python classic. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Just remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 900 miles an hour.
More like 1,000.
Yeah. It's orbiting at 19 miles a second.
So it's reckoned.
The sun that is the source of all our power.
Well, there are other sources of
Yeah,
power,
are you going to
of
do
course.
this through the whole song? You are.
Doing it right.
Yeah. Now the sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are moving at 1,000,000 miles a day.
Near enough.
In the outer spiral arm at 40,000 miles an hour of a galaxy we call the Milky Way.
That's correct.
Yes. Our galaxy itself contains 100 billion stars.
2 to 400 billion.
Yes, I knew that had changed. It's 100,000 light years side to side.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it bulges in the middle, 16,000 light years thick.
You sure?
Yeah, but out by us it's just 3,000 light years wide.
Have you measured it yourself?
Yes, I measured it myself. We're 30,000 light years from galactic central point. We go round every 200 million years.
A bit longer than that.
And our galaxy itself is one of millions of billions in this amazing and expanding universe.
2 trillion, we think, actually.
Really, that's a lot. Is there more than we thought?
It's a new estimate.
Yeah, right. You know how everyone thinks you're really smart, but I've known you for a lot of years, and everyone also knows you're a brilliant musician. But I want you to prove to the audience in Australia how smart you are by playing and singing at the same time.
That's a bit
You can
hard.
definitely do it, right? Ready? Show them. There you go. Our universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all the directions it can whiz. So you got to sing at the same time. As fast as it can go at the speed of light, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So remember when you're feeling very small and insecure, how amazingly unlikely is your birth. And pray that there's intelligent life somewhere out in space, 'cause there's bugger all down here on Harmony. Brian Cox, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to form a duo and travel the world.
Yeah, we're here all night. Available for weddings. Yes.
Or funerals.